I discovered the red pill when I was 19 years old. A friend of mine, a good friend of mine, I'm not going to say his name, but he knows exactly who he is, came to me talking about this book that he'd read called The Rational Male. And he said that in the book, he'd learned that women are hypergamous. And I remember thinking, what does that even mean? Hypergamous? What? Hypergamous? And he told me that basically it means that women seek status. Women seek men who are at the top of the food chain. And I remember at the time thinking, that is the dumbest thing I have ever heard. And I told him this. I said, that makes absolutely no sense. And I started citing different examples of women that I knew who were with men who were very, very far, as far away as you could possibly be from the top of the social hierarchy. But he didn't want to hear it. And not too long after, I didn't want to hear it either. Because very shortly after he told me this, very shortly after he introduced me to this new paradigm, I met a girl. And to say I fell in love with this girl would be a very, very big, a colossal understatement. I was obsessed, head over heels, instantly. Never fell for anyone like that ever in my life up to that point. And things are going very well. And I remember thinking, I told him that this hypergamy thing is complete nonsense because I'm working at H&M. I have 400, 500 subscribers on YouTube. If that, I'm very far from the top of the food chain. I make $11.25 an hour. And this girl right here, who's basically everything I wanted in a girl, is rocking with me. So there's just more proof right there. And then she ghosted me. And it happened so suddenly that I didn't even know how to respond. I was in denial for a long time. I thought that maybe she was just busy or she just wasn't seeing my texts. I didn't know what was going on. But she ghosted me. And when I realized that this was what was going on, once I moved past that initial denial stage, you want to talk about taking the red pill. I took a whole bottle of red pills. I overdosed on them. I was popping red pills like these rappers pop Molly's and Xanax and all this other stuff. I was taking the red pill over and over and over again. And I was in a very dark place because of it. Because in my mind, it wasn't just the fact that she had ghosted me and rejected me. It was the fact that at the time, I associated that rejection and that ghosting with my position in life. I thought that because I was not making a lot of money, she had ghosted me. Mind you, I was 19 at the time. I was 19 years old. But I convinced myself that she had ghosted me because I wasn't making a lot of money. I took the red pill. And I continued to take it for a couple of weeks. But then I discovered an even more impactful and empowering paradigm. And that was manifestation. Now, before you say, oh, manifestation is woo-woo, I'm not here for the spiritual talk. This isn't spiritual. This is not spiritual. This is psychological. What do I mean by that? Well, manifestation, in a nutshell, is basically you receive whatever you focus on. If you focus on something, even if just subconsciously, especially subconsciously, that is what your life will reflect. Because your reticular activating system, which is the part of your brain which is responsible for achieving your goals and noticing patterns along the way, will focus on whatever it is that you have set as your goal. And in my case, subconsciously, whenever my friend introduced me to this information, I guess a part of it must have resonated with me deep down. And I created a situation in which I received confirmation of that belief unknowingly. And this is what a lot of young men do. Now, I'm not saying that that girl ghosted me because she was a gold digger or anything. As a matter of fact, looking back on it, she knew my situation before we ever even went on our first date. She knew I was far from rich. She knew I wasn't YouTube famous. She knew all of this stuff. So that wasn't the reason why she ghosted me. Really, she just didn't like me that much. But it wasn't because of the fact that I was broke or because I wasn't famous on YouTube. But the reason why I'm saying this is because I made it out. I realized that I was the one who created that situation. But for many young men out there, thousands upon thousands of young men out there, they never find this out. And by the way, a part of me, even once I figured this out, still believed that if I became successful, she would like me. And so what did I do? I became successful. I blew up on YouTube. I made a bunch of money. I got a brand new BMW. I got a luxurious apartment. I started wearing designer clothes. Well, at least a designer belt. Nicer clothes. And I generally became somebody who conveyed high status, especially to be in his early 20s. And once I reached that point, I got to the mountaintop and I reached out to her again. People don't know about this. I don't think I ever really talked about this on my channel before, but I reached out to her again. She didn't respond. And that right there, that situation was what told me, confirmed to me, that it was never about status. It was never about my level of success. That wasn't what she was repelled by. There was something about me that she just wasn't feeling, she wasn't rocking with, but it wasn't that. You see, I had to take accountability for that situation. Even though she's the one that ghosted me, I had to take accountability and recognize that I was the problem. I was the problem. How could I be the problem and I'm the one who got ghosted? Well, the answer is simple. I was the problem because I had selected the wrong girl. I had selected somebody who clearly wasn't as compatible with me as I thought that she was. Because if we had been compatible, then she wouldn't have ghosted me. So there was something wrong with the way that I was going about seeking out women. And again, this comes back to the reticular activating system. If you have a belief within your mind, within your subconscious mind, that women are cruel, heartless, that they're incapable of unconditional love, if you hold these beliefs that these red pill YouTubers will continue to push on you to keep you emotionally attached to them and their content, but that's a different discussion for a different day. If you hold these beliefs and you charge them with your emotions, which if you've experienced rejection, that is very likely what's going on. You have a lot of unprocessed emotion, which continues to charge these belief systems that you have, these limiting belief systems at that. Your reality will reflect that. Your reality will reflect that. You see, the big issue, the reason why you're stuck where you are, the reason why the things that I'm saying aren't making sense to you and why you're probably getting frustrated watching this video is because it doesn't align with your limiting beliefs. The things that I'm saying are making you uncomfortable because you're recognizing that maybe you are the problem. It's not that you're not good enough. It's not that you're not rich enough. It's that you hold these beliefs about women. Therefore, those are the kinds of women that you seek out. Because as humans, we don't like to be wrong about ourselves. And we measure ourselves, we determine who we are based on who we are relative to other people. So, in other words, you are seeking out these kinds of women in order to perpetuate the beliefs that you have about yourself, in order to perpetuate your self-image, your limiting self-image, the self-image that is keeping you comfortable in your misery. You have to take accountability and understand that until you let go of these limiting beliefs and focus on the relationships that do not reflect the things that these red pill coaches say, relationships like mine, for example, until you break free from these limiting beliefs, you are never, ever, ever, ever going to find yourself in a happy or successful relationship. And even if you do, on the off chance that you do, you're going to ruin it. You're going to sabotage it. Now, how do you go about breaking these limiting beliefs? And then how do you go about finding the right woman? Because again, the issue is not that you're not good enough, it's that you're going for the wrong types of women. Your marketing is bad in that you are placing yourself in the wrong markets. Therefore, selling becomes much more difficult. When your marketing's on point, sales are automatic. The way that you do this, the way that you break free from these limiting beliefs is you become honest. You become brutally honest with yourself. If you're feeling resistance to the things that I'm saying, then this applies to you more than anybody else. And again, I was in your shoes. I know what it's like to be you. I wasn't in your shoes for as long as you have been in your shoes, very likely, but I was in them. And I wore them everywhere I went. And what I realized was that I don't really like those shoes very much. They're not comfortable, they don't look good, and they're just not for me. They don't fit. And they don't fit you either because they don't fit anybody. Take them off and take the time to focus on being honest with yourself about who you really are and who you want to be, what you want in a girl. Not what you want to want, not what you think will get you the most status with other people, but what you want for yourself. What kind of person do you want to spend your days with? What kind of conversations do you want to have with this person? Be honest with yourself about that. Because when you start to plant that idea in your reticular activating system, you will notice those kinds of women more frequently. And whenever you do notice those types of women and you put yourself in position to interact with those types of women, guess what's going to happen? You are going to find yourself in a happy and fulfilling relationship as long as you continue this trend of honesty in interacting with those women. So you need to be honest with yourself, and then you need to be honest with them about who you are, what your intentions are, and you let them make informed decisions based on that. That's the only game you need. You don't need game. The game is to be yourself. And if that's not good enough, if you're being yourself and you are not having success in the dating market, then you need to go back to the drawing board and figure out what's going wrong in your marketing. Your marketing is messed up, not your sales. Your biggest bottleneck is your marketing. And the reason why your marketing is messed up is because you still have limiting beliefs, or you're still not being honest with yourself about what you actually desire in a woman. Maybe you don't believe that it's possible because of the limiting beliefs, because of what these red pill coaches are telling you. Stop listening to them. Stop watching them. I'm not saying that I'm the only channel you should watch, but don't watch them. Don't watch these red pill coaches because they are not going to help you find a fulfilling relationship. How many of them are in fulfilling relationships? Really ask yourself that. How many of them are in happy and fulfilling relationships? How many of them are able to hold down a relationship for an extended period of time? That tells you all you need to know. Focus on establishing a vision of what kind of girl you want to be with, or guy, if that's your thing, doesn't really matter. But if you took the red pill, then I'm going to assume you're into women. What kind of girl you want to be with, how you will feel once you are with that girl, and then when you meet that girl in real life, because you will, your chance will come. Be yourself. And if you do that, I don't make a lot of guarantees, but I can guarantee you that you will find the one.